Seems like just yesterday, golf was just starting, and here we are with the final breakdown hoedown of the year. I'm not going to be doing any more for 2023, and it's the last week of Showdown Hoedown. Now, for all of you that are members over on my site, know that the content will never stop over there. I'll still be doing every round of Showdown, still be doing a course preview over there. But as far as YouTube goes, I gotta appeal to the pleb, so I will be switching over to college football and NFL content. You can see the emergency stream on Wednesday is going nowhere. 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Lord's time zone as always, so continue to be there for that, but everything else is going to be over on the website. But you can see I've got my new fall schedule up right there. If you can't tell, we have got Showdown Hoedown, but now it'll be for Monday and Thursday night football. We have the Touchdown Hoedown Saturday night for all of your final thoughts for NFL, much like the Wednesday night emergency stream. This will be for NFL. And of course, we have the Friday night First and 10 with DGen for college football TFS. I'm telling you, you're going to want to play it. It starts this Friday for week 0. It's the biggest edge out there. You're like, my state don't allow it. Drive to the fucking state line next to you and go reserve some lineups, you donkey. I'm telling you, it'll be worth it. College football DFS is going to blow up, and it is the biggest edge out there because you want to talk about morons. There's a bunch of fucking morons at it. Okay. Quick story. Did you know that 30 years ago today, 30 years ago to this day, I fractured my skull, got 5 plates and 10 screws put in my head because I fell off my fucking bicycle riding down a hill. Great parenting, by the way. And here I am, 30 years later, making stupid fucking YouTube videos over fantasy sports. What a weird direction life takes you in, because I promise you if I didn't fall off that bike, it would have changed the trajectory of my life quite dramatically. So I just think that's funny, and I wanted to share it. So happy 30 years of still being alive, even though I should be dead because I cracked my skull on a huge fucking rock in, what was that? Turner Falls, Oklahoma. There you go. If you ever want to go. White Trash Fest, you'll have a blast down there. Okay, let's get to the course. This week, if you don't know, it's the Tour Championship. Only the top 30 guys make this one, okay? It was 70 at St. Jude's, then it was 50 last week at the BMW. Now it's only the top 30, okay? And this week is particularly weird, okay? This is it's like Sunday Showdown on roids, okay? The reason I love round 4, aka Sunday Showdown, is because we get those quote-unquote placement points, right? And everybody, I gotta play him. Him's in first place. I need them points. Well, Hims don't get shit unless he finishes there, right? And this is going to be the same thing this week. Based on where they're ranked at in the FedEx Cup rankings, they get to start out. Like Scotty Scheffler, I didn't even look, but I'm pretty sure he's number 1. So he will be starting at -10, and then Hovland is number 2. He'll be starting at -8. And then when you get down and then it just keeps going down from there. 7, 6, 5, 4. And when you get down to the guys 26 through 30th place, they will start at even par. So good luck fucking Siwoo or whoever's down there. Who would just be in? I don't even know. Once again, didn't fucking look at the standings. You'll know soon enough. But whoever's in 30th place, good luck catching up 10 strokes on Scotty fucking Scheffler, a god among men, okay? But that doesn't mean we don't play those guys down there. Because of that, we're going to have some really unique pricing. I have not looked at it. I'm praying that it's some I hope Scotty's something stupid like 15,000 or something like that. You're going to see guys, I assume in the 5,000s. I assume guys in the $14,000, $15,000 range. And it's going to lead to really dynamic pricing because those guys get to start ahead. Now, they don't get any birdies for starting ahead. They just get those fake position points, right? So we're going to be looking at a little bit of math. And I think this week, more than ever, is a week to kind of say, just play the game. This is the ultimate play the game week, okay? Because people are going to fall in love with those perceived important position points. And I promise you right now, there will be a lineup that something like 500 people will enter where it will be like the most plausible points you could have starting out, right? It'll have the first place guy, the second place guy, a bunch of guys in 6 through 10, and it'll just be like the best, like the one. So when it starts, all their little lineups will be to the right, just like those fucking morons that do it for round 4. And those lineups will be dead. And if it somehow did win, which it won't, they'll split it 500 ways. Good job, dipshits. So don't be that guy this week, okay? Understand that position points are completely made up and that they only matter where you finish and not where you start. Do not fall in love with these position points and pay a premium simply because somebody is starting high up in the rankings. If they don't finish, or high up on the leaderboard, if they don't finish high this week, it won't make a lick of difference, Bob. Not a lick, okay? So let's get to the course. They are in East Lake, which is just, I believe it's in East Atlanta, right? By a lake, I would imagine. So this is East Lake. They play the Tour Championship here every year. So we have a pretty good course history. And the biggest thing I take away from going back and looking at this is, this is not an easy course. This is certainly on the tougher half of courses that they see in a year. Second of all, it's not a course, that's just like, oh, well, it's hard because it's super long. No, it's not hard because there's tons of water or hazards. It's just no real easy holes, right? Both the par fives are gettable. 1 or 2 par fours are gettable. But other than that, it's just every hole, there's going to be a lot of pars, right? We'll just call this the Brendan Todd course because you're going to see a lot of fucking pars, right? The occasional bogeys. You're not going to see a bunch of quads and stuff like that, I don't believe. But you're also not going to hardly see any eagles. And if a guy gets 5 or 6 birdies, that's an insane round, okay? So that's my big takeaway this week. And the other thing I would want you to know about this course before we dive into it is the course history here is not sticky. Outside of Rory and Xander, which, let's just skip over there and look now. You can see when you look at the best course history here, Xander and Rory have some pretty good course history here. Rahm is solid. Other than that, it's not very sticky, right? We don't have a great course history here. So I more than anything, I just want guys who are playing well. How many times do we see this, that guys just get hot this time of year, right? Lucas Glover would be a great example, but I think he peaked just a little too early, right? But these guys who really start to trend, I'll never forget the Billy Horschel year, the Justin Rose year. Those guys, they just get hot and they just ride it to the end. So a guy like Victor Hovland right there already gets bonus points for me coming off of the win last week, right? Rory, Scotty, these guys that are in great form, they just get big bonus points from me because this every year seems to be determined by who is playing well, not necessarily who is a great course fit. Because you want to know a little secret? These are the 30 best guys this season from the PGA. You want to know what course they're good at? Every fucking course. That's why they're in the top 30. All right. So I don't fall in love with, I think he's a good course fit. You want to play guys who are in good form, who are doing the correct things right. That's what I would say. Okay. Looking at this course, it is a par 70 coming in at like 7,300 yards, which is pretty damn long for a par 70. Only 2 par 5s as you would expect on a par 70, 4 par 3s. The par 5s are both gettable. The par 3s are a mixture of long to tough holes. You can see 3 of them come in over 200 yards, which a great mathematician once said, that's long. That ain't easy, Bob, I believe is what he said. And then just a bunch of long par 4s, right? That's what I'm telling you. There's just not a lot of great birdie holes on this course, right? About 2 par 4s and the 2 par 5s are where you're going to get your birdies. And after that, it's just hold the F on. Something I think that we need to lead with last year is from last year, right? Last year was one of the few years we've ever seen this course play relatively soft. There was a bunch of rain in the Atlanta area leading into this tournament last year. But historically speaking, this course plays very firm and very fast, which is one of the great protections of it. You have a short course that plays long and it's firm and fast. That's tough conditions. And just looking at the weather, which I'm bouncing all around today, you can see it is going to be very, very dry and very, very hot. Atlanta, I have heard, is balls hot as the temperature there every day in the summer, right? So I would expect a firm and fast course. So using last year's data, I think you need to take it with a grain of salt. I don't think that is reflective of how it will play this year. I think it will be much more firm and fast, okay? From there, just looking at how people get it done around this course, you have got to be in the fairway, right? If you can hit it long and straight, that's great, right? So right off the top of my head, I'm thinking Rory and Hovland, although Rory's had a case of the fucking shanks recently. But guys like that. But if you could choose long or choose being in the fairway, you're going to want to be in the fairway. This is why I love good drive gained. Okay, good drive is where you hit a drive where your next shot you put it on a green in regulation, right? So you could hit it to the rough so long as you give yourself a chance to get a green in regulation, because the key this week is going to be greens in regulation. You're going to need to be giving yourself lots of birdie putts. The around the green game around here is not particularly tough. It's one of the easiest courses on the PGA Tour as far as scrambling. But if you're constantly scrambling, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on yourself, and this course is already hard enough where you don't want to be scrambling, rather it's easy or not. So greens in regulation is what I'm going to be looking at. And what does that mean? I need guys who've been playing well off the tee and guys who have had really good approach recently. I don't even care what distance, just guys who are dialed in with their irons right now, because this is a true ball striker's course. I truly don't give a shit about putting, which, by the way, these are Bermuda greens, okay? And I don't really give a shit around the greens. I need guys who are going to have greens in regulation all day and who are going to give themselves lots of birdie putts. So right there, you're saying, well, I guess I'm playing Scotty, and I think that's a good idea, right? Scotty's probably going to win this fucking tournament, right? He just checks every box you would want to see, right? He doesn't have a great course history, but he also hasn't had a lot of chances to play here, okay? So that is my big takeaway from the course, is that you have got to be playing from the fairway. You have to have good recent form, specifically with your approach. I don't give a shit around the greens, and if you're a good Bermuda putter, that is a nice little bonus. But what I really want to see is these guys who are coming in with momentum, not these guys who just fucking fell into the top 30 because they were good early in the season and they've been spinning their wheels for the past several weeks. I want the guys who have been moving up and playing well these past several weeks, right? Like Xander is a guy who really, gonna give it to you, seems like a guy who is trending in the right direction, right? Rory, Hovland, Scheffler, these guys really seem like they're trending in the right direction. You know, guys like Neckbeard, John Rahm, these other guys, Neckbeard's Patrick Cantlay, new guy. these guys seem like they're really spinning their wheels and are not coming in great form. And if I know anything about Eastlake, you want the guys coming in good form, okay? From there, as I said, it is going to be firm and fast. It is going to not be like what we saw last year, and I think it's going to not be tough because just looking at this weather, 100 degrees every afternoon, every freaking day leading up to this, 100 degrees. It doesn't look like we're going to see a ton of wind, but it does look like we're going to see firm, fast greens because I'm just going to let you know something. When it gets to be 100 degrees every afternoon, shit's going to bake out, okay? This ain't magic Atlanta grass that doesn't dry out, okay? So you got to factor that in. That is your course preview. That is the kind of guys I'm looking at. As far as my model this week, you know what my model is going to be? It's basically going to be fucking recent form. That's what it's really going to be. I'll look at a couple things, long par fours, proximity from 200 plus, I think is going to be a common thing. And I'm going to look at good drives, right? It's going to be a very simple model this week. Really, it's going to be guys that are A, in good form, and B, which you will see, it is going to come down to the pricing this week because there's going to be a lot of baked-in value this week just to the pricing and people not understanding basic, simple math. Hey, let's get over to what are we doing next? Contest selection. But before we do, make sure to like and subscribe. I think we're like 3 people away from 4,000 subscribers. Thank all of you for doing that. When you like, subscribe, turn on your notification. It helps me and the editor out so much. Tell a friend because you know YouTube ain't going to share our shit. We appreciate every single one of you. All right, getting over to the contest this week. You can see, as always, I am not prepared. What a fucking surprise. Here we go. The Sand Trap back down to $1 million this week, which I kind of like because then they only do 20% up top, which is, better than 25%. It has been said. So that one's actually playable this week. But I think what has me more excited, if you're wanting to just spam a bunch of lineups, they put the drive the green back down to 50,000 up top as opposed to 100,000, which just makes the payout structure so much better. Look at that. 10th place is 133rd. I think it was like 1/100th last week. Probably tell them. Okay, so that one is much more playable. They still get that leaderboard special for the $222, the $40, and the $6. Remember, if you've played it in the last 2 weeks, you might as well play in it one more week because your cumulative total goes towards a extra leaderboard and you can get some extra points. If you haven't played in it, you probably shouldn't. Hey, my $10 18 max, my baby, is up, looking good as always. What a surprise that a good structure always fills. Really, there's good contests, a lot of solid-looking contests this week. I was really hoping they would do that $2 20 max. I saw a lot of people like that. Maybe that's just going to be a showdown one, right? So, lots of good contests to choose from this week. But I would tell you this, right? I think that this week, more than ever, if this is kind of shit I'll be talking about Wednesday on the emergency stream, 7 o'clock, Lord's time zone. You are going to want to be creative this week and how you construct your roster, how you construct your player pool. Okay, and by that I mean you're gonna want to have the winner this week. Okay, you're gonna want to get the guy who wins this tournament. But what the trap everybody's gonna fall in is they're gonna just try to get all these guys who are starting in the top 10. And what do we see every round 4 showdown when we play on Sundays? It is about getting those guys who move up the leaderboard and backdoor those top 10s, not those guys who start there. Because the big difference that you're gonna see is the difference between second place. You get 20 points for second place. People are like, I gotta play guard second. I gotta play Harvard. He gets 20 points. No, he doesn't get 20 points. He gets 20 points if he finishes there, which is a big if with so many good players chasing him down. Whereas a guy starting in, let's just say 20th place, right? Very, bottom of the pack. He gets 5 points. You get 5 bonus points just for starting there. So that's only 15 points difference. Not to mention, this guy has room to move up. Where Hovland doesn't, he has room to move up one fucking spot to first. But other than that, his ceiling is lower. And you're going to be, these guys down here are probably going to be something like $6,000. Hovland is going to be something like, we're about to look. I'm going to assume at least in the order of $13,000, okay? So understanding this and overpaying for guys simply because where they start is what you need to play this week. Another little piece of advice I would give you is I think you really want to be warm to leaving some money on the table this week. I will probably cap my lineups at $49,800 because $49,900 and $50,000 this week, you are going to be getting duped no matter what. There's only 30 guys. There's only so many reasonable iterations of that you can put out there that people will build. So that is another little thing you can do to differentiate. Because if you're going to play in this big daddy right here, the Sand Trap, you hit the nuts, you don't want to split it with 6 guys. You want all $200,000 to yourself. So get a little bit different. Leave a couple bucks on the table. Construct your roster in a way that's not just playing all the guys who start as high as humanly possible, and that will be a big edge, okay? So the contest selection is there. playing the game is there, and I get it. A lot of you are ready for football. A lot of you don't like 30-man fields and no-cut events. I would tend to agree with that, but at least this week, I assume, we're about to look in a second, we are going to have dynamic pricing, and we are going to have the built-in advantage of dumbasses playing round 4 logic, or not playing round 4 logic and just being like, well, I gots to have him. Him starts in 3rd place. Okay, you gots to do nothing, right? So I'm going to be laying out all the values, right? I'm going to get together with my team right now over on the website. We will be laying out the values of every single player versus, like where they are projected to finish versus what their salary is, and we will come up with a calculation that shows you where the real values are and who you're paying too much, right? Because I'm going to assume Scotty Scheffler's like $14,000 or $15,000, and if you're paying that much because he gets 30 points, he don't get shit unless he finishes there, right? And maybe he will win, but you shouldn't be paying a premium because of where he starts. You should be paying that premium because of where he's going to finish. So if you think that Scotty's going to win, well then sure, go eat it. But don't pay it simply because he's starting with more points. That's noob shit, okay? Let's just get over and talk. I can't wait to see these salaries. Please, sweet Jesus, let it be like $15,000 for Scotty and the bottom guys be $5,000. And the edge will be there, bro. But before we do, guys, go check out degen75.com. PGA is going nowhere. I will be doing Showdown, Hoedown, and all that over on my site. The Rosetta Stone will still be there. Everything will still be there. But now we have NFL and college football DFS. The Rosetta Stone we have for both of those is so sick. We're doing best balls. We're doing pick'ems. We are doing betting. Everything you need over there. I'm telling you, this is the little site that could. We are growing. It is something special. Come be a part of it. If you don't believe me, just look at all the motherfathers that fly the flag, okay? When you look at leaderboards, you tell me you don't see that flag everywhere. I dare you, okay? Go find someone else whose brand is being more represented, because we are about the community. We are about us. We're not about, look whose projections we have. All right, let's get to it. Shit, Scotty's only 13-4. All right, this is a little disappointing. I was hoping the pricing would be more crazy, right? 13,400 still ain't cheap, right? But it is not as much as I would have thought. I thought I was for sure Scotty would be at least in the 14,000s. It seems like they've kind of calculated in. I do see guys down here in the 5,000s, which is nice. But not as big of a difference as I was expecting. A little surprised to see Rory ahead of Hovland here, as Hovland is starting in 2nd place, so he will automatically start with 20 points. Okay, and he's actually 500 cheaper. That's really surprising. Okay, so you've got you've got these guys up here, and part of the reason that all these guys are so high is they're really good players. That's pretty good. And the second reason is they're getting those position points. That's why the salaries are so dramatically different this week, right? Now, Nick Taylor is a guy down here at 5,000. And I think whenever you're building your rosters this week, let's say you want to start Scheffler, Hovland, they're 1-2, you think they're going to boat race, okay? You can actually reasonably do that this week, right? But when you do that, you really are narrowing yourself down to what your roster is going to look like, because you only have 6,000 left over, right? So you're going to have to basically play 2 of these guys down here from, Taylor and Grillo. And even that doesn't leave you a ton of money left over, right? You can get to Moore, and you can get to Errol Hatton, which, by the way, Errol Hatton at 6,900. First of all, nice. Second of all, that seems a little cheap for Errol Hatton. Okay. I know he's starting down at the bottom, but you don't think Errol Hatton can go chase some motherfathers down? So this is what I'm talking about. Whenever you start wanting to pay up for 2 of those guys, it really pigeonholes you into what you can fill out the rest of your lineup with. This is why I think, and we're going to go do the math right after this, and I will put it out over on the website, is the key is finding the winner. I think you definitely are going to want to have the winner this week, right? Because those 30 bonus points, not only will they get those bonus points for winning, but they'll probably have made a lot of birdies, right? So from there, I do not think you want to fall in love with just these guys who start high. I think you want to find those guys who are the best value, right? Like a guy like Xander Schauffele, I don't even know what place he's starting in, but let's say he's starting in 10th place, right? And he can go backdoor a top 10 or a top 2 or 3 pretty easily if he plays well. Not only will he be moving up the leaderboard, which means he's making lots of birdies, he will then get those position points that he was not being factored in at the start, right? So it's almost like you're getting Xander at a discount simply because he's moving up the leaderboard and didn't start at the top of the leaderboard. Those are going to be the guys to target. Just like you wanted to have Russell Henley and Tom Hoagie this last week at round 4 showdown. Yes, they started way down the leaderboard, but they moved way up the leaderboard, and they had those big rounds, and then they got all those points for the big round, and they got the bonus points at the end. That's how you want to be thinking of it. Think of guys who are in the best position to move up the leaderboard and not the guys who are most likely to hang on. Because as I had over here, the difference between 2nd place and 20th place is 15 points. 15 points is 5 birdies, okay? And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, the guy in 20th place is never going to get 5 birdies more than Victor Hovland. I would probably agree with that, right? Let's just take Siwoo Kim. Where the hell is Siwoo Kim? Siwoo Kim is 7,200. Victor Hovland is 12,500. So that is a difference of, what is that, $5,300, right? And you're saying, well, shit, 5 birdies, he can make up that difference. I think Kim's around 20th. I'm just using him as an example, right? But how you should really think of it is, let's say these two play even this week, right? Well, if they both played even, we would assume that Viktor Hovland would hold on to roughly a 15-point edge over him because he's starting higher up in the standings, right? But does 15 points justify $5,300? I don't think it does, Bob. Viktor Hovland would need to outscore Siwoo Kim something like probably by like 8 or 9 birdies and hold on to second place to justify paying $5,300 more. This is where the real math lies, right? Is understanding what the difference is between the guy in second place and the guy in 20th place is, or the guy in second place and the guy in 15th place, okay? Because whenever you start to see you're paying a $5,000 to $6,000 difference and then we're only talking about 15 points, well, then that's a really bad value, right? That is not where you should be allocating your funds. Plus, Viktor Hovland, as we already said, only has basically one way to go. He's either going to win the tournament or he's going to move down the leaderboard. And the chances are he would be more likely to move down the leaderboard than up the leaderboard, as there's going to be so many good players chasing him. This is why I'm telling you, this is a week for strategy, this is a week to play the game, and this is a week to not fall in love with where people are starting, okay? Don't be that dumbass, all right? Play the game. Understand that it is about getting guys who are coming in good form, guys who can move up the leaderboard, because when they're moving up the leaderboard, not only are they getting those position points that are not baked into their salary, they're getting lots and lots of birdies, assuming they're moving up the leaderboard, right? Or at least avoiding bogeys, right? And that they're going to be gaining all those position points. And as they're gaining, that simply means one thing: somebody else is losing them, okay? So for me, I'm going to be trying to target the winner, and I'm going to be trying to find all the best value guys that I think can move up the leaderboard, probably in that 10 to 20 range. And I definitely will be looking at the 21 through 25 range. The problem with those very bottom guys is A, they're starting 10 strokes back, B, they're the least good golfers, and C, they are going to be the guys most correlated with Scheffler and Hovland. And so they're naturally going to get ownership with that, because every time somebody puts Scheffler or Hovland or Rory in a lineup, they're almost always going to go down and grab one of those $5,000 guys. So when you do that and you understand that correlation, well, if Scheffler is going to be chalky and Hovland's going to be chalky, well, that's naturally going to put the ownership on those guys and make them more chalky than they should be. And yes, I get on a 30-person field, everybody's going to be chalky this week. 30 guys into a 600% ownership means that the average player this week is going to be 20% owned. I think you will see a good number of people over 40% this week, right? This is why I'm such a big fan of leaving some money on the table to try to get yourself to be different and to give yourself an edge to actually win the fucking GPP, as opposed to splitting it with 45 of the most slapdick friends you'll ever meet, okay? I think that does it. Guys, you got to be there Wednesday night for the stream, okay? 7 o'clock Lord's time zone. I will break this down for you more often. This is a week to play the game. It is a great last week of regular season golf, and then we get a couple weeks off till the swing season. Don't forget, this Friday, 7 o'clock Lord's time zone. Be there for the college football show. If you're like, Mass State don't offer no college football, drive to the state line, you donkey dick, and reserve your lineups. I hope that this finds you well. I hope to see you Wednesday. Golf ain't over, and just because football's starting, I will see you soon. Enjoy this outro.